Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the annual general meeting of shareholders for Maple Leaf Foods. My name is Michael McCain, Executive Chair of Maple Leaf, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here today. A few formalities before we jump into the business of the meeting. I will act as chair of the meeting, and my colleague Jillian Akai, our Senior Vice President and General Counsel, will act as secretary. Also joining me on stage today is Curtis Frank, Maple Leaf Foods President and Chief Executive Officer, and one of my fellow directors who you will be hearing from later. In addition to Curtis, I'd like to also acknowledge the other 2026 director nominees who are joining here today, both in person and online. Bill Azes, Ron Close, Tom Hayes, Fareed Khan, Lauren Jones-Davis, Kay Lemon, Andrew McDonald, Linda Mantia, Jonathan McCain, and Beth Newlands-Campbell. Your commitment collectively, your insights and your leadership are second to none, and thank you for your commitment to creating a world-class board experience here at Maple Leaf. Of course, a big thank you to Maple Leaf team members, many of whom are joining us here today in person and online. And of course, to our shareholders, thank you for your continued trust and support. Your long-term perspective is essential to everything we are building here at Maple Leaf. This past year represents a watershed moment for our company. The decision to spin off our pork operation into a public company, Canada Packers, is one of the most significant strategic moves in our history. It demanded courage, clarity, and discipline, and our people delivered. On behalf of the board, I want to recognize Chief Executive Officer Curtis Frank and our leadership team for guiding the company through this transformation with focus and precision. This was a deliberate choice to sharpen our strategy and strengthen our ability to compete and win over the long term. Today, Maple Leaf Foods is a more focused and a more clearly defined company. We are clearer about who we are, we are more disciplined about where we compete, and we are better positioned to create enduring shareholder value. That value is built through consistent execution of the right strategy over time. And the strategy that matters most is when the world feels uncertain. In 2025, geopolitical strain, inflationary pressure, and social polarization tested business everywhere around the world. In that environment, leadership is revealed not only in the decisions that we make, but also where we refuse to compromise and in our willingness to adapt when change is required. At Maple Leaf Foods, we are both agile and steadfast. We respond to external realities while remaining anchored in our purpose and our values. These are not competing ideas. They are the dual obligations of responsible leadership. Our purpose is to raise the good in food. That's not a marketing slogan to us. It's a strategic framework that shapes how we allocate capital, how we operate, how we manage risk, and how we build trust with consumers, customers, and communities. It also informs how we think about our broader impact on the planet, on society, and on the long-term sustainability of our business. We believe fundamentally that sustainability and financial performance are inseparable over the long term. Sustainability is embedded in the fabric of our business. In 2019, we became the world's first major carbon-neutral food company, which required an operational redesign, capital investment, and sustained execution. It has delivered tangible results to the company, including cost reduction, risk mitigation, stronger brands, and a more resilient enterprise. Our 2025 results reflect this continued commitment. We maintained our carbon neutrality for the 6th consecutive year. We reduced Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions by 2% and achieved a 15% reduction in our Scope 3 emissions from our 2018 baseline. We also diverted 98% of our food waste from landfill through continuous operational improvement and innovation. These are measurable outcomes that demonstrate how disciplined sustainability efforts translate into real business value. At a time when some organizations in our industry or around the world are stepping back from sustainability commitments in the face of cost pressures or increasing complexity, we've taken a different view. We understand those pressures, but leadership isn't tested when conviction is easy. It's tested when it's inconvenient. Our position is unequivocal. Sustainability is a source of competitive advantage for Maple Leaf Foods. It strengthens supply chains, aligns with evolving consumer expectations, builds trust, and prepares us for a future in which environmental and social performance will increasingly shape financial outcomes. The same discipline applies to our social commitments. Through the Maple Leaf Centre for Food Security, we are working to reduce food insecurity in Canada by 50% by 2030. This work is grounded in the belief that long-term value creation depends on strong and stable communities. We enter the year ahead as a simpler, stronger, and more focused company. And while the path forward will not be without challenge, Maple Leaf Foods has a long history of navigating complexity with the resilience and the discipline and a commitment to continuous improvement. As we look to 2026, we are clear on who we are, we're clear on how we compete, and we are confident in our ability to deliver. So with that, we'll now move on to the formal business of the meeting. Our agenda today will consist of 3 parts. We will start with the formal business, which will cover receiving the 2025 annual financial statements, the election of directors, reappointing KPMG as the external auditors of Maple Leaf Foods, and approving the advisory resolution on executive compensation. All of these matters are described in detail in the notice of meeting and accompanying management information circular dated March 20, 2026. Once we've completed the voting formalities, we will adjourn the meeting temporarily to allow time for the scrutineers to complete the tabulation of the voting results. At this time, we will welcome CEO Curtis Frank to provide an update on the incredible momentum in the business and the blueprint that we are following to deliver on our full potential as we embark on the next chapter. Following Curtis's remarks, we will open up the meeting to general questions and answers, following which we will reconvene the formal meeting to announce the voting results. A few additional process points for today's hybrid meeting. If you are attending in person and have a question about a specific item of business, you are welcome to ask that question when that matter is being considered. If you have a general question or comment, we ask that you please hold it until the question and answer session following the management presentation. In either case, please use one of the microphones stationed at the corners of this room so that those joining online can hear your question. We also ask that you identify yourself by name and whether you are a shareholder or a proxy holder. If you are joining us online, you're welcome to submit your questions at any time during the meeting by selecting the message icon at the top of your screen, typing the message in the text box, and then clicking send. Questions submitted online that relate to the formal business of the meeting will be read aloud by Jillian when that matter is being considered. General questions will be read aloud during the Q&A session. When we get to the general questions, depending on the volume of questions, we may group those online questions and comments of a similar nature together. We'll do our best to respond to all of the questions, but in the event we are not able to get to your specific question, we will follow up with you after the meeting. Now, with the consent of the meeting, I appoint Timothy Lee and Anup Das as scrutineers. Jillian, can you please confirm that a quorum is present and the meeting is properly constituted?
Thank you, Michael. Yes, I can confirm that the meeting is duly constituted and that a quorum is present. Both the confirmation of mailing of the meeting materials and the scrutineer's report on attendance will be kept with the records of the meeting. Copies of the notice of the meeting and management information circular are available on our Maple Leaf Foods website at www.mapleleaffoods.com and on SEDAR+ at www.sedarplus.ca. For those joining online, you can also access the materials during the meeting by clicking on the Documents icon on the Lumi platform. All votes today will be conducted by ballot. If you are a registered shareholder or proxy holder attending in person, you will have received ballots when you arrived at the meeting and registered with Computershare. Most of you will have turned in your ballots at that time. If you are a proxy holder and did not receive the ballots, or if you received the ballots and have not turned them in, please raise your hand and the scrutineers will assist you. Shareholders and proxy holders attending virtually and who have logged into the meeting using your control number are able to vote on each matter until voting is closed. You can vote online by clicking on the polling icon at the top of the screen and completing the ballot. You may change your vote by selecting an alternative option on the ballot, or you may cancel your vote by selecting cancel. Please note that if you have already voted by proxy before the meeting, you do not need to vote again during the online voting unless you wish to change your vote. Voting online will revoke your previously submitted proxy. Once voting is closed, your online ballot will automatically be submitted. Detailed voting instructions are available on your screen once voting is open. We will announce the results of all voting, including votes cast at the meeting and proxies deposited before the meeting, following the management presentation. To expedite the meeting, we have asked certain shareholders or proxy holders who are also employees to move and second various motions. As a final note, today's remarks may contain forward-looking information within the meaning of applicable securities laws. This includes statements about our expectations, plans, objectives, strategies, financial performance, and outlook, including our annual and long-term guidance. Some forward-looking information may also be considered financial outlook for the purposes of securities laws and is provided to help investors understand management's expectations. Various factors and assumptions were applied or taken into consideration in arriving at that forward-looking information that do not take into account the effect of events announced after today. Our actual results may differ materially as a result of numerous risks and uncertainties, including those set forth in management's discussion and analysis for the year ended December 31st, 2025. Unless required by law, the company does not undertake any obligation to publicly update or revise any forward-looking statements, whether as a result of new information, future events, or otherwise.
Thank you, Jillian. With that, we will now move to the first item of business and open the online poll for all matters. The first matter of business is the presentation of the financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2025, together with the auditor's report on those statements. The financial statements and the associated auditor's report are tabled before the meeting and have been mailed to those shareholders who requested them and are also available on our website and on SEDAR. No motion is required. Are there any questions? There being no questions, we will move to the next item of business, which is the election of directors. The number of directors to be elected has been set at 12. All nominees have confirmed their eligibility and willingness to serve as directors. As outlined in the information circular, the nominees are as follows: William Azes, Ron Close, Curtis Frank, Tom Hayes, Fareed Khan, Lauren Jones-Davis, Catherine Lemon, Andrew McDonald, Linda Mantilla, Jonathan McCain, Michael McCain, and Beth Newlands-Campbell. May I please have a motion?
My name is Jennifer Hahn, and I nominate each of the 12 nominees listed in the form of proxy and management information circular for election as director.
My name is Christina Capone-Satimi, and I second the motion.
Thank you, Jennifer and Christina. Are there any further nominations or questions? As there are no further nominations, I declare the nominations closed. Shareholders are entitled to vote individually for each director. Each director requires a simple majority of votes cast as for to be elected. May I have a motion?
My name is Jennifer Hahn, and I move the election of each individual director nominee to the Board of Directors of Maple Leaf Foods to hold office for a term to expire immediately following the next annual meeting of shareholders, or until their respective successors are elected or appointed, or they otherwise cease to hold office.
My name is Christina Capone-Satimi, and I second the motion.
Thank you, Jennifer and Christina. If a shareholder or proxy holder attending in person has a ballot on this matter that has not been turned in, please raise your hand so that the scrutineers may collect it. And as the online poll remains open, we will move on to the next item of business, which is the appointment of auditors and the authorization of directors to fix the auditor's remuneration. The board has recommended the appointment of KPMG LLP as auditors. This vote requires a simple majority. May I have a motion, please?
My name is Alicia Demchak, and I move that KPMG LLP be appointed auditors of the company to hold office until the next annual meeting of shareholders or until their successors are appointed, and that the directors of the company be authorized to fix their remuneration.
My name is Jennifer Hahn, and I second the motion.
Thank you, Alicia and Jennifer. Is there any discussion on this motion? As there is no discussion, shareholders and proxy holders may vote on the motion if you haven't already done so. Once again, for those attending in person, if you have a ballot that has not been turned in, please raise your hand so that the scrutineers may collect it. And as the online poll remains open, we will move on to the final item of business, which is the non-binding advisory vote on the company's approach to executive compensation. May I have a motion on that, please?
My name is Christina Capone-Satimi, and I move that on an advisory basis and not to diminish the role of the responsibilities of the Board of Directors, the shareholders accept the approach to executive compensation as described in the company's Management Information Circular dated March 20th, 2026.
My name is Alicia Demchak, and I second the motion.
Thank you, Christina and Alicia. Is there any discussion on this motion? As there is no discussion, shareholders and proxy holders may vote on the motion if you haven't already done so. Once again, for those attending in person, if you have a ballot that has not been turned in, please raise your hand so that the scrutineers may collect it. Thank you, and as that is the last matter to be voted on at today's meeting, I now declare the online poll closed. With all the voting completed, our scrutineers will finish tabulating the votes, including those cast during the meeting, today and by proxy in advance of the meeting. While we wait for the final tabulation, I'd like to now invite Curtis to the podium. Curtis?
Thank you, Michael, and good morning, everyone. Before I begin my comments today, I want to address a very difficult moment for our organization. Our safety promise in Maple Leaf Foods is clear. Everyone who comes to work should go home safely. On April 9th, that didn't happen. We lost one of our team members in a tragic workplace accident at our London poultry facility. Her loss is being felt deeply by her family, her colleagues, and the London community, and our thoughts remain with everyone affected. We are committed to fully understanding what's happened and to ensuring that we do everything possible to ensure that it never happens again under our care. Let me now turn to the business. As Michael said, 2025 was a defining year for Maple Leaf Foods. Over the past 30 years, we've been on an extraordinary journey. When the McCain family and Ontario teachers first acquired this company back in 1995, we were a broad-based meat and bakery business operating on low single-digit EBITDA margins. What followed was a deliberate, disciplined, and at times difficult transformation. More than 30 acquisitions, 2 separate billion-dollar investment programs, a singular focus on protein, and ultimately the successful spin-off of Canada Packers, which has simplified the portfolio and sharpened our strategic focus. 2025 marked the completion of this multi-year transformation, and it's been one that has fundamentally reshaped the company. Today, Maple Leaf Foods is a purpose-driven, protein-focused, and brand-led consumer packaged goods company with structural competitive advantage. And most importantly, we've entered the next phase of our journey. The heavy investment phase is behind us, and 2025 was a clear signal that we are now firmly in our return and delivery phase, focused on growth, on margin expansion, on cash generation, and on improving returns on capital. Last year, we delivered $3.9 billion in sales, growing nearly 8% and materially outpacing the broader North American CPG market. Adjusted EBITDA grew by 21% to $476 million, nearly 3 times the rate of our sales growth. Margins expanded by 140 basis points to 12.2%, significantly outperforming our protein peers. We strengthened our balance sheet, we reduced leverage to 2.1 times, and we returned more than $200 million of capital to you, our shareholders. We also continued to invest in growth. In 2025, we launched more than 50 new products and introduced 2 new brands, including Mighty Protein and Musafir, expanding our reach into new categories and new consumer occasions. At the same time, we are growing our sustainable meats business, a business that remains strategically important, financially attractive, and continues to differentiate us in the North American marketplace. Together, these efforts are strengthening our brands, expanding our reach, and driving market share gains across our core categories. And this momentum has extended into 2026. Earlier today, we reported a strong first quarter with sales up just over 6% and continued growth in adjusted EBITDA. This is keeping us firmly on track to deliver on our 2026 outlook. These results reflect a business that is not only performing, but one that is structurally stronger. We are outperforming on the top line, on the bottom line, and for all of our stakeholders. And we are delivering this performance in an environment that continues to be dynamic and at times is certainly unpredictable. That's the kind of environment that we've built this company to navigate. We've been tested before, and those moments have prepared us for what lies ahead. We understand the importance of resilience, the importance of discipline, and the importance of focus. And as we move forward, that focus is clear. We are a protein company operating in an advantaged category. Protein is one of the most resilient and attractive segments in food, supported by strong consumer demand and long-term structural growth. This gives us a powerful foundation as we deploy our blueprint for the future. We are executing a disciplined strategy to capitalize on these category advantages built around 3 priorities: scaling the core business, expanding our structural margins, and allocating capital with discipline. We are doubling down on what we do best at Maple Leaf Foods, leading in sustainable meats, building a portfolio of loved brands, accelerating the pace of impactful innovation, expanding our reach into the U.S. market, and aligning to our customer strategies. We're expanding margins through better mix, better productivity, and our Fuel for Growth program. We are investing in the technology, automation, and AI that will define the next generation of Maple Leaf Foods. And we're doing it the right way, grounded in our culture, values, and vision to be the most sustainable protein company on earth, which continues to inspire us all. At our Investor Day earlier this year, we outlined our financial ambition for the future, targeting approximately $5 billion in revenue and approximately $750 million in adjusted EBITDA by the end of 2030. To achieve this, we are capitalizing on our distinct competitive advantages: a portfolio of leading brands with more than 100 years of history, world-class assets with capacity to support growth, our leadership in sustainability and sustainable meats, which differentiates us, and a strong balance sheet that positions us for enhanced shareholder returns. Our 2026 outlook, which we reaffirmed earlier today, stands as a clear signal that we continue to make progress. To close my comments today, I want to recognize our team. The transformation of this company, including the separation of our pork business, has required extraordinary effort from thousands of extraordinary people across Maple Leaf Foods. I want to thank our teams for their commitment, their resilience, and their discipline in bringing our vision to life. I've spent my entire 26-year career at Maple Leaf Foods. I've seen this company in its hardest moments and at its most successful. And I can say today, without hesitation, that I've never been more confident in where we stand, where we're headed, and in the team that is driving us forward. This is a new Maple Leaf Foods. This is a business built to deliver. The investment phase is behind us, the earnings power is ahead of us, and we are exactly where we want and need to be: purpose-driven, protein-focused, and brand-led. And the best of Maple Leaf Foods is yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. That's very inspiring. I understand that we now have the voting results available, and I will reconvene the formal part of the shareholder meeting. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to join us today and for casting your votes. Your views are important to us, and we appreciate the opportunities like this to receive your feedback. I am pleased to announce that the director nominees have been elected. Please join me in congratulating your 2026-2027 Board of Directors and also welcoming Lauren Jones-Davis to the board as our newly appointed member. I look forward to working with all of you over the course of the next year, and we've got so many exciting things to occupy our time. I'm also pleased to announce that each of the remaining resolutions, the resolution appointing KPMG as the auditors and the Say on Pay advisory resolution, have also been passed. Full details of the voting results will be published following the meeting and filed on SEDAR. So that brings us to the conclusion of the formal business. Before we wrap things up, we'll turn it over to Jillian for questions that you may have to engage with Curtis or others.
Thank you, Michael. So we invite people online to submit questions. And in the meantime, if we have any questions in the room, please make your way to one of the microphones.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Lauren. I'm one of the shareholders here at Maple Leaf Foods. I had a question for you. Now that the separation of the pork operations is complete and you've had some time to be that more focused CPG company, are you seeing the benefits that you hoped for?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think it's fair to say it's been a wonderful outcome in terms of the separation of the company. The results are really starting to show through in terms of the benefits of the focus as a consumer packaged goods company. We saw that not just in our quarterly results we issued this morning, but also over the course of 2025. I also have the opportunity to participate in a different capacity as a board member of Canada Packers. And I'm super pleased, to say they're making great progress as well. Had an excellent first quarter and start to the year, and we certainly wish them all the best in their own journey. So I think it's worked out great for both organizations. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions in the room? Jillian, do we have any questions online?
No questions online, Michael.
No questions. Okay, thank you. So that being the case, I think that brings our meeting to a close today. So Thank you all for attending. Thank you, Jillian, for organizing this meeting, and Curtis for the amazing work that you and your team are doing at Maple Leaf Foods. So thank you all, and that concludes our meeting for 2026. So well done, and we'll see you next time.